Hi there, this is Dani, and the channel is You and Me Living Free. I am so excited to share the story, to share the pictures and the videos from Antelope Canyon that I took. This place was so amazing, and I've been to some really iconic places, but this is something I will never forget as long as I live. I'm sure of it. I'll do a quick plug here for the tour company that I used. It was called Dixie's Lower Antelope Canyon Tours, and they were amazing. Also, I got to tour the Lower Canyon for only $50. Maybe that doesn't sound cheap, but the Upper Canyon tours were like $140, and some of the Lower Canyon tours I saw were 90 or so. But this was the best deal I found. This is our guide. His name was Kendrick. And we are on native land, so we are definitely all wearing masks the entire time for the tour, even during pictures and everything, as you saw in the beginning. Here's us just walking up, getting ready to go down in, and look at those stairs. I had seen on the website and in some of the marketing material about some of these stairs that I was going to have to go down. 75 yards of stairs in the beginning, all going down. And then as you come up, it's gradually. So you'll do one or two flights of stairs just gradually on your way back up. But I knew this was coming. I had even done some tapping on fear of heights and imagining myself on these ladders, because it's kind of a big deal for me. If you've been watching, you know that. All this time I have been spending in canyons and in the mountains has really done a number on my fear of heights, and I am getting better, but I did have a cold sweat for sure when I was even looking at these ladders. But luckily, I made it. Okay, so digging right in. Of course, I didn't take pictures on the ladders because I was scared for my life and because our tour guide wouldn't let us. But this is us just getting started in the tour. I'm going to try to keep pictures of other people out of it as much as possible, but it wasn't always possible. So this is us literally just getting started. Number one, I'm showing you gorgeousness right off the bat, right? Look at those formations. It just seems almost fake. And as we get going further and you see some of the lighting, it really does seem kind of fake. What I'm showing you here is so many of these things are so narrow. And there's a whole section of this lower canyon called the Narrows where you're walking through really, really tight areas. And then you open up to kind of like a room sized place, and then it opens up a little more, but definitely wouldn't recommend it for anyone who's claustrophobic. Look at that. Just awe-inspiring. Mostly I'm just going to let these pictures and videos run, and I'm just going to kind of tell you the story or some of the things. Oh, look at that glowing. Okay, so look at that. I was gonna try to tell you stories, and now here I am getting all excited about these videos again. Like, I can't believe it. I love them so much. But so most of these are from me down looking up. So that's mostly what you'll see. I would recommend that if you are interested in touring either one of the Antelope Canyons, the lower or the upper is more popular. More people do the upper Antelope Canyon than the lower. But from my research, there were two reasons I did the lower. Number one, the upper, I couldn't get in. I guess there weren't really two reasons I couldn't do it. There was really only one reason. I couldn't get in until like 2 weeks later was the first slot, and even that was an afternoon slot, so I didn't really want that. But here's the truth. There were two reasons why I would have preferred lower, and I'm so thrilled I did lower. Number one, of course, I could get a slot. Number two is that I heard there are smaller groups of people because they're more narrow and the rooms are smaller, so the tours might only have 7 people at a time instead of 20 or even 40 people at a time. So the crowds are smaller at lower. And number two, it was cheaper. It was literally about half the price of the upper. So I'm thrilled with my decision. And also, money has been a thing. The last video I did was my hike of Horseshoe, and I was talking about the $10. It's so funny, but I I just did my 6-month review of being on the road, and one of the things that I had to come to terms with is that I've been spending too much money. So now I'm kind of hyper focused on the money, and so you'll hear me talking about it a lot more. But it is a factor, in every decision, of course. I mean, it has to be. When you're a girl on a budget, that's the way it is. Our tour guide was amazing. He's been working there since like 2015, so he's a long timer, but he knew every shot to take. He set up all my shots. Doesn't that look photoshopped almost? It is so crisp. I think he put the vivid filter on for this one. Some of my photos have the vivid filter, some don't, but a lot of times it really didn't matter very much. The lighting was kind of either on or it wasn't. It was either a little bit dull or it was that bright gold. And what our tour guide was telling us was the bright golds and all this reflectiveness of the light is from something called dolomite, which is in the sandstone, and just gives that mirroring effect and gives that brightness and even the gold look as the sun just is reflected against one side of the canyon to the other and around all of those cool formations, and it just comes together to form this perfectly unique thing. Here we are back to some of the ladders and the stairs. That just shows you, like, I had to climb up and go through there. Like a lot. It could be challenging. Let's put it that way. There were times when it was, but just the gorgeousness. I don't even know what to say. I think these pictures kind of speak for themselves. These gold tones are my absolute favorite. I mean, does that look fake or what? I promise you, every picture on this roll was taken with my iPhone 10. I love the different colors. Look how many different colors are in this one picture. You go from practically black there at the bottom to the bright orange and fiery gold. Just, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. I don't have enough superlatives to describe this place. Now, when you look at this canyon from the outside, and we'll do that when we're getting ready to finish, when we walk out of the canyon itself, you can see, oh, this is one of my favorite pictures. Look at the colors and the cut of those rocks. Wow. This is probably one of my own videos that I will go back and watch again and again. Is that funny? Is that silly? But it is. These are like my home movies. So before I was interrupted by that breathtaking spot, this might be the Narrows here, part of it, where we're walking through. Anyway, as I was saying, from the outside, these slot canyons look so small, and it's really easy to see where people could get hurt and injured. And what our guide Kendrick was saying was that when he first started working there would be animals that would fall in to the bottom. He said snakes were the most common, and they would clear them out in the mornings if there were any in there. Isn't that awful? But they're just like us. I guess that's why we have to have the tour guide right now. Look at that picture. Holy crap. That's why we have to have tour guides now, is because there were some people, I think in the mid-90s, a family or a group of people anyway, who lost their lives. And so they made the regulation or whatever that people would have to have a tour guide. So that's the situation, and that's why it's expensive. Part of it. Anyway, but safety first, right? Safety first. So also our guide was telling us that there are maybe a half a dozen or so of these canyons that are open for tours, including upper and lower. But also he said that there were 97 slot canyons, and I forget what area he said, if he said in the Southwest or in the Colorado River Basin in general. I can't remember what he said, but there are 97. I guess these are just the ones that are available to us. But, in all of these canyons, they're all made the same way. This is all water moving through, right? And it starts with a little crack, and then the water starts to move through, and then the crack gets bigger and bigger and bigger until you have a slot canyon. It's amazing what the power of moving water can really do. Look at that one. The contrast between that red and the blue sky is awesome. We're getting ready to leave the canyon here, and I cannot believe you made it to the end of another video. This is walking out into the sun, and then we're going to take a look back and see how skinny this thing is that we are climbing out of. I literally had to go like sideways to come out of this. What an amazing experience. I hope you get to do this one day, and if you can't for whatever reason, I hope that just seeing this little bitty piece of it has brightened your day. I appreciate you. Thanks for making it to the end of a video, and I'll catch you next time.